It's showtime.
It's the pre-party with J. Cal.
We are professional wrestling.
I'm building an alliance.
You are tuned into
The absolute top of the mountain, the ultimate professional wrestling.
Alliance-wrestling.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-wrestling.com, your number one source for news, information for the National Wrestling Alliance and the United Wrestling Network. My name is J. Cal, and, well, we're back. We're back. We were on earlier today. If you guys missed it, had a great interview with a good pal of mine, and that would be the Neon Phenomenon, Anthony Idol. No relation to any other idol you might know. And he is going to be heading out to Memphis on November the 6th. So we talked some wrestling. We talked a lot about SoCal wrestling, his days at UPW, his days at training in Tijuana, Mexico. So it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun talking to him, and it was a blast. Hope you guys will check it out. It's up on Spotify. It's up on Amazon. Or you can watch the stream on Twitch. It's not quite up on YouTube yet. Jody says, I know you love Austin Idol, Jay. You know, I'm gonna say this. I didn't hate Idol on commentary. I know. It's crazy. But he wasn't that bad. In fact, he was kind of brought something that they've been lacking as far as I'm concerned in the commentary booth, and that is a heel presence. Now, Jim Cornette never went full heel while he was commentating for NWA Power. However, Wade Barrett did. So it was kind of nice because Tim Storm is he's not going to go full heel. He'll never go full heel for the NWA. But, you know, having Adonis in that booth, you kind of heard a more heel approach. I said Adonis. I meant Idol. Excuse me. You had that more of a heel approach to the commentary, and I kind of felt like it worked. Now I know there is almost no chemistry between he and Velvet Sky, but I really felt like Joe Galley and Austin Idol in the booth would be something fun. I don't know. He says he was better last week or whenever the most recent time was. Here's the thing. Putting Austin Idol with Tyrus, I mean, you're really not taking advantage of him to his highest potential. Because if you think about it, Tyrus doesn't need anyone to speak for him. He's very eloquent. That's one of the best things about him. Hell, that's why he's on Fox News, right? Because he can articulate a thought clearly, and he can speak very well. You don't need someone like Austin Idol for Tyrus, but someone like Jordan Clearwater, who promos aren't his strength, and I'm not trying to put down Jordan Clearwater, but he could benefit from Austin Idol and that Idol sports management. Another guy on the roster, Freeman, right? He is a guy who seems like he could have potential, but he'll never realize that potential, in the tag teams where he's at. But putting him with somebody, again, like Austin Idol might help realize that potential. And if and when Tyrus leaves the NWA, that's exactly where I'd like to see them use our pal, Austin Idol. Lamb says hello to everyone on Twitch, and I also want to say hello to everyone on Twitch. We are on Twitch. We are on YouTube. We finally got our credentials back after the big Twitch hack, so now we're broadcasting on both. I'm sure I'm breaking some rules, but damn the rules, right? We're here to talk NWA. We're here to talk pro wrestling. Heebs also wants to point out that they buried Big League Gary on social media today. You know, Gary is a very patient man, because I think if I was in that position, I don't know that if I could have kept the sarcasm and the vitriol at bay. You have his number. Why would I need his number? Hey, you never have me on. That's because you're not worth having on. There's so many quips I would have used in that place. But then again, I'm not standing next to a guy who's like 6'8" and like 490 pounds. So, Lamb also wants to say hello to everyone on YouTube, and I also would like to say hello to everyone on YouTube. In fact, let's go down the row here. Let's say hi to all my friends. Willie Bowen's in the house. What's up, brother? Heaves is in the house. Doty's here. Lamb is here. And there's at least like 5 more of you here. So thank you guys for checking us out each and every Tuesday here for the pre-party. I haven't done that in a while. Oh, there's a reason why. That kind of hurts the voice, doesn't it? Don't forget that you can join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. with me, Kevin Frazier, the former NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, and DKM as we recap the news and information of the week for the NWA, specifically the episodes of Power or Power Surge that air on Fight TV. That's always a fun for us, and we do that every week. Poyle Del Mar's in the house. What is up? Welcome. Glad you could be here. Sean Mega's here. Dave Scooby's here. This just keeps getting better and better. It's like a master's class. I've got all my friends here. So let's talk about the NWA because, of course, we've got Power Surge in just a matter of minutes. In fact, it's about 55 minutes away. I'm very excited to see what they have in store for us tonight. Of course, the big matchup with Tim Storm and Thom Latimer should be enough for you all to be excited about Power Surge. I really feel like the NWA is putting it out there by putting this match for as part of the Fight TV package. Obviously, this could be a main event for a pay-per-view. This could be just about anywhere in the NWA. I got to fix my light here. Excuse me for just a second. It's driving me nuts. Okay, there we go. And this match could be just about on any card for the NWA. And they're using it for a Power Surge, which I think is great. We'll probably end up seeing this match on YouTube soon. And I think that's pretty cool. And Poyle DeMar says she loves talking about the NWA and that she's excited for today's NWA. That's me too. Lamb says, we get Hirsch versus Kamille from the pay-per-view for free. Well, kind of the $5. Yeah, I mean, look, it's the NWA has every right to take advantage of the content that they've created. We paid for that a couple months ago, and I feel like it's a fair time. It's fair time. You know, it's been a little bit, so I don't have a problem with that. Them reusing the content. In fact, I think it's smart because there's some people that might not be ordering the pay-per-views but are paying for the $5 subscription. And I think they can benefit from that membership. If it were me, if Billy came to me and said, Jay Cal, I want you to set this up for us and you show us how to make this work. I mean, the pay-per-views and the TV and all of it would be one package. You'd pay like, I don't know, $15 a month, and you don't pay for the pay-per-views. All the pay-per-views would be free. and you'd have that subscription that you're paying monthly for. So the fans get a little bit of extra, but the NWA is guaranteed some income always coming in. And even on the months that they don't do a pay-per-view, it's still understood that that's what you're paying your money towards. And I think that would be pretty cool if you asked me. And then Heeb says this Surge has a beefy lineup, maybe 60 minutes-ish. Yeah, I mean, the title match between Kamille and Lelya Hirsch in and of itself should probably be at least a good 15 minutes from that pay-per-view. And that match, I mean, that was a banger. Legit, Lelya really showed that shoot style of wrestling. Like her name states, it was legit. And I was one of these guys that thought that this matchup on paper sounded stupid. And I'll just say it point blank. You've got Kamille, who's a legit powerhouse, and literally just dwarfs the size of legit Lelya. And Lelya pulled out a great match out of Kamille. And not to say that Kamille isn't capable of having good wrestling matches. It was just it was kind of cool to see that. So that was awesome. Poil Lamar corrects me, it was about 20 minutes. And yeah, that match was good. I mean, it was a solid match. Then the other matches we're supposed to have for tonight, we also see the return of Hearthrob Jaden, no relation to the Jaden that used to do this podcast with us. And he takes on, the Tater Peeler's own Jeremiah Plunkett. Now, Jeremiah Plunkett, I keep telling you guys, don't sleep on this guy. I know it's a couple of years removed, but it wasn't that long ago he was challenging Satoshi Kojima for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship at the Sawmill down in Tennessee. This guy is a former NWA Southern Heavyweight Champion, even held the NWA's Australian Championship briefly a few years back. I really feel like if you're all sleeping on our pal Jeremiah Plunkett, you're making a mistake. I think the NWA hasn't really utilized him to his fullest potential yet, but I think he is one of these guys that they're going to use in a position to help bring guys along. We saw it a few weeks back when he wrestled Mims, and they had a really stellar match, and it kind of helped solidify Mims as a bigger, I don't want to call him a threat, but it kind of added some credibility to the young man. So I really feel like we're going to see one of those matches tonight with Plunkett versus Jaden. Brian Rosa is asking, is he related to Jim Plunkett? That I cannot tell you. I don't know if he is related to Jim Plunkett. What's going on, Brian? Glad you could join us here today. Sean Mega says, by any means necessary, is looking awesome. And I got to tell you, there's some pretty good matches that are already announced. I know they'll be announcing some more tonight. We'll probably hear more from NWA CEO, President, Chief Executive Officer, Head Booker, Head Storyline Writer, and all things NWA related. Billy Corgan will probably be making some announcements regarding the card tonight, so that should be fun. Yeah, Lamb caught me on that one. There's also a big announcement of Billy Corgan himself. And Brian says, who is by any means necessary? Brian, that is going to be the show that is taking place this Saturday, October the 24th in Kentucky at the Valor Hall. I don't know what city that's in right off the top of my head, but that's going to be a tried and true and NWA wrestling show that they'll be doing. The rumor is that it's being filmed for a later edition to Fight TV. That I'm not too sure of. I don't know what's going to happen, but of course we're going to have Billy Corgan on Power Surge tonight, so we're bound to get some information, right? We're bound to hear some stuff. Sean Mega says it will air on the 27th. The 27th, you say? That's like a week from tomorrow. So it'll air on a Wednesday. I mean, why not just put it on Tuesday? Make it fan friendly for those who are watching on the NWA subscription service. But I digress. Hey, have you guys tried the Premier Protein? It is delicious, and it has a little bit of coffee in it. It's very good. No energy drinks today. They're all gone. So we've been talking a little bit about tonight's Power Surge episode. What do you guys think? Which match are you looking forward to? And what matches is really grabbing your attention for by any means necessary? Sean Mega says that's a rumor. Don't quote me. You got it. Come in here with with facts and innuendo, but not 100%. Heap says we might be getting some new power content. I mean, that would be terrific. The biggest obstacle that I see facing the National Wrestling Alliance going forward is the taping schedule that it has. Brian. Oops. Brian is watching other things tonight. I think the biggest problem that the NWA will face under its current model is these taping schedules. Now, I know it's efficient and it works well to record all these hours of programs on 2 or 3 days following a pay-per-view. The problem with that, though, is things can change. People can get injured. People can get signed. And what would that lead to your show? What would that do for your show if, for example, Jax Dane gets signed to work AEW? I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if it did, wouldn't that throw, a monkey wrench in the plans? What if the Pope gets signed elsewhere? Could that potentially eliminate him as a challenge for the 10 pounds of gold? Could that cause problems for the NWA? I mean, I think so. We didn't really see it, but we kind of saw it when Slice Boogie signed with MLW. We know that his contract with MLW trumps whatever else he's doing. So he's still working Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. He's still working the NWA, but if he's on a date with MLW, that's going to supersede everything else he's doing. The same thing with Danny Limelight. Both of those guys signed with MLW just a few weeks ago. And then Poyo brings up a great point, and it just is the problem is your product doesn't feel fresh. And I 100% agree with that, because all of this was canned back in late August. So now we're in October, rapidly approaching November, and we're watching stuff that's already happened. I mean, Kiera Hogan signed with AEW. Now she might have a clause, or that match already might have been taped. But she's supposed to face Mickie James, or at least that's what they're building towards for the next pay-per-view, or maybe that's just the Empowerrr TV show. And I feel like that could be an issue. And then, we've got the other problem with this is, and I'm going to get into it right now anyways, it's weird for the storylines, right? Because I know a lot of the stuff is shot out of order. So then when things are presented on TV, sometimes it doesn't make sense. They've unintentionally given a few spoilers. So that's also kind of a little bit on the what are you guys doing type scenario. And then we get these weird promos that have been happening on television too, where it's on one episode we get Chris Adonis walking out with Melina, and it seems like they might be a couple, and then the next episode, Kamille's knocking her out, and we don't see Melina with Masters anymore. And it wasn't really explained. It never really presented itself as a story. And Poyo Damar points out that match with Mickie was filmed back on Tuesday after Empowerrr. So, I mean, so having another program, another live event that they can draw content from makes a lot of sense. And in fact, it will help keep, as Poyo Damar pointed out, keep things fresh. It'll allow the NWA to pivot on some of the storylines that aren't working. And it'll allow them to make them work or replace storylines that just don't seem to make any sense. They can make it make sense. Sean Mega says the NWA needs to do monthly tapings. And yeah, I mean, I think that would make a lot of sense. Lamb kind of echoes the same sentiment. It'd be better if the NWA tapes every month instead of every 2 to 3 months. I mean, I think you guys are all saying what we're all thinking, that the NWA would benefit from a more production, more content. In fact, I mean, we said it here. We've said it on the Alliance Guys podcast as well on Thursday nights. It would make a lot of sense for the NWA if maybe they did choose to have 2 separate programs. Maybe a program that focused more on women's wrestling and a program that focused more on men's wrestling. Or hear me out, maybe a program that focused as the highlight of the night would be the national championship and maybe the women's tag team championship, and another program that would focus on the TV title and the men's tag titles. Just a way of getting more NWA content out there. I think that'd be beneficial for the fans, as Brian Rosa asked. More content for who? Brian, there are some subscribers. You got at least probably 8 of them in here, maybe 7, maybe 6. I don't know, maybe 5. But there are some of us who are still paying the $4.99 every month to watch the NWA, and it would be better if the content was more fresh. I also feel like when they left YouTube, they really left a vacancy where they were getting 200,000 views on some of these shows that they were producing. Now, I know that getting paid to produce content through Fight is a better churn than getting paid from YouTube based on views, but I do feel like there was an audience there. And if you were somehow able to create content for both, you could have something where you're generating money based on a fan subscription and you're generating revenue based on an experience people find on YouTube. And if you could capture those 200,000 viewers who used to watch Power from episode 1 up to episode 23 and bring them back in to order these pay-per-views to go to your live events, that's how this is all going to work. If you're relying on that Fight TV audience, your diehard fans who are already paying $4.99 a month to watch the show, then also forking out another $20 to $30 a month, or not a month, but every quarter to order a pay-per-view, you're really taxing them. And then you're asking them to pay to go to the live events as well. It gets to be a bit much. So let's see. More of your comments. This is fun. You guys are doing pretty good. Polio Demar says, the biggest problem I see is filming so far in advance does not allow the company to redirect, tweak, or scrap any storylines with that. Exactly. I don't know if I saw you say that before I said it or if we just share the same brain today, but yeah, I agree with you on that. Heap says, could a shorter taping all pay-per-view build off of that? I mean, I think so, man. Do you need 8 weeks of... Did we need 8 weeks of storytelling to get us to Jax Dane and Crimson in a Steel Cage? Do we need 2 months of programming to get us to Trevor Murdoch and Nick Aldis? I mean, I think in general, if the storyline is there and it makes sense, I mean, at the end of the day, wrestling is wrestling. The whole point of being in professional wrestling is to be the best. So everyone's goal, everyone's pursuit is to be the world's champion. And if you're looking at the men's division, you have 2 routes to get to the world's heavyweight championship. You can go win the TV title and have a best of 7 series, and that'll solidify your shot as the world's heavyweight champion. Or you can win the national championship, and you're supposed to be number 1 contender. And this is according to Nick Aldis. You have to just file the paperwork, and then you're number 1 contender to the title. Or you could just win matches and get matches. So there's actually 3 different routes to get you to the 10 pounds of gold. That's what the show should be based on. We don't really need a lot of the additional drama. I know the drama is what helps sell the matches, but like Jax and Crimson, that's where the drama has been beneficial. But like if we're to get Pope versus Trevor Murdoch down the road, we don't need all that extra drama. We just know that the Pope wants to be world's champion and Trevor Murdoch is the world's champion, and that's all there is to it. It really is a lot simpler than sometimes they make it out to be. Wrestling with MMA is in the house. What is up, my friend? And Polio Demar says it is already done, so it has to play out. Exactly. Fiona's here. She's late. Amazing that you're out there caravanning. I saw that your photos, you're out on the lake or something, out by near Loch Ness. So please be careful. Look out for Nessie. And if you see her, tell her I said hi. Polio Demar also says we have to acknowledge how costly it is to bring everyone together to film, though, and that is difficult for smaller companies. And Polio, you're preaching to the choir here, because we understand that although this company, those letters have been relevant for 73 years. We also know that this is a startup company that spent 2020 basically on hiatus. They've only actually been producing wrestling for about 3.5 years. And if we're going to be realistic about it, the TV show only started in 2019. They haven't even had a full year of producing Power because of, again, the global pandemic that put the show on pause last year. And it didn't even start up into this year until March. I mean, and we're only in October. So we're talking about October, December, January of 2019, January to March in 2020, and then March to now. I mean, that's not even maybe it's a full year, maybe it's 1 calendar year, but it's still not as complete as it should be. And it's a shame. It's a shame that they don't have those kind of reserves. And we also have to be aware too that this is Billy Corgan's baby, right? He's not bringing in any outside investors to tell him how to run his show. That's not going to happen. He's going to let it grow naturally, and he'll throw money at it when he needs to, and when he doesn't need to, he's not going to. I mean, that's basic business 101. But if he wants to keep it his pure vision and the Billy Corgan Pro Wrestling NWA, then he's never going to have an outside investor to help direct that show, to help pay for that show. Because once you are taking money from somebody, now you have to listen to their voice, and their voice has merit. So thank you, Wrestling with MMA. I do appreciate that. That interview with Anthony Idol was a lot of fun. I hope you guys will check it out. It's up on Twitch right now. So when this is when Power's over, feel free to check it out. If you prefer to listen to our interviews as opposed to watching them, you can check it out on Spotify or Amazon or Apple. You could just say, like, hey, Google, play the Alliance Blog podcast. Oh, man. Poyo, you're on top of it. I'm going to just make you a co-host. As someone who they invested in to fly to St. Louis and put up for the weekend, I'm not that cheap. Exactly. You're not that cheap. But that's, again, another good reason why they should have more frequent shows, right? Because, yes, you did cost money to come to that show, but you provided a service. Just like if they're having this show in Kentucky, if they were to fly you into that show, they're paying you for that service. Now, if they use you for more than just a pay-per-view, great. And if not, you got paid for your time. So I do agree with you. But I also feel like as a business, like, look, I'm a business owner myself, and there is cost measures, and there's things that I will be willing to invest my money in, and there's things that I won't be willing to invest my money in. And when I'm purchasing something for my business, I have a set dollar amount of how much I'm willing to spend, and I know how long it will take for me to recoup my investment. This is business 101, and I'm sure Billy Corgan is more than adequate to determine these business numbers. I mean, he's been in the showbiz, if you will, for his whole adult life. So I'm sure he's fully aware of opportunity costs and knowing that it's going to cost X amount of dollars to bring in Pollo Del Mar. And is it worth it? Is Pollo Del Mar worth it? And obviously they believed you were because you were on the show. And then Lamb brings up a great point too. He says, or use more local talents and build them up. And especially if this show, and this is all just me, projecting. I have no inside information. Believe me, I'm not an NWA insider. Those days have been long gone. But if they do decide to do a secondary show and it does run out of the chase, they're going to tap into that St. Louis market for sure. I mean, that's where they found Tootie Lynn Ramsey, and I'm sure they'll keep scouting talent in that Midwest area to use on those shows because it's a heck of a lot cheaper to fly talent, to have talent drive in from the surrounding cities than it would be to fly talent from Florida or California or wherever. With that being said, Atlanta currently is their home. It's their hub. And, a lot like what Lamb says right now, Championship Wrestling from Atlanta roster is mostly from the Nightmare Factory. And that's legit. I was there. I saw the talent live. There's a lot of students from the Atlanta school from that Nightmare Factory. And then a lot of the talents they brought in are talents that are based on the East Coast. They're not flying. They didn't fly in Chris Dickinson to be on I guess they tried to, but he lives on the East Coast too. So let me rephrase that. They didn't, on the first episode, they didn't fly out Levi Shapiro and Jordan Cruz, the television and heritage champion respectively, on that first episode because they had talent and they had access to talent on the East Coast. So I really feel like that would be cool. Sean says, do you think Billy will go all in on Latimer? God, I hope so. I really do. I know that Latimer has a checkered past, and I hate the fact that he has to still deal with that. But again, life is about choices and how we handle these choices. And it seems like he truly is repentful. And in this country, in the United States, it used to be if you asked for an apology, you got it. We were a very forgiving nation, but I don't know if that's how it is these days. And I know that in the UK wrestling scene, I know that he was announced for a card. And once his photo was on the card, there was a lot of blowback. And it's unfortunate because, from what I've understood, and I don't know everything, guys, but he really seems to have repented from those mistakes. And, I don't know the whole story. And if someone does, please feel free to enlighten me. But I would really like to see him get that opportunity. And Poyle Damar says, I'm absolutely not complaining. I just want to remind audience why they want to pre-tape while they have talents in one place. Yeah, Poyle, we get it. I mean, I think this is a smart group. I know you this is maybe the first time you've been on this show as much as you are right now. And I do appreciate you being here. Please, you're always welcome to be here. We'll be back here, same channel on Thursday, and we'll be talking NWA then too. And that show's a lot more negative, I'll be honest. But yeah, I mean, we do understand there are, like I said, the opportunity costs. There are reasons to use certain individuals. There are reasons to bring in talent. And you're a perfect example. You being on that show helped with the inclusion. And I'm not just saying that's the only reason why they use you. You're good at your job. That's why they used you. But you also help bring in a larger audience, and you have a following. And it makes sense. It's the same thing I would do if I was running a pro wrestling company. I'm not saying you book based on Twitter followers, but you certainly book based on people who have appeal, especially a large appeal. And but we do understand. I think I can speak for everyone. We do understand why they film so many episodes, but I think it would make more sense, especially at this point. You have to remember when Power started taping, there was no charge for it. So their YouTube, and I had talked back then, I was a little bit more of an insider. Their YouTube channel, along with the ticket prices and merchandise, sustained their production costs. Now, I know that doesn't mean that they're making a ton of money. It just means that they're not losing a ton of money. But keep in mind now, they have the subscription service. They're still selling pay-per-views. They're still selling VIP experiences. They're still selling tickets to these shows. They're still having YouTube revenues, even though they're much smaller. They're still earning from merchandise sales. So now they have an opportunity. They're making more money. Theoretically, I don't know the books. I haven't seen the books, but theoretically, they should be making more money at this point than they were a year ago. And like I said, they're charging for a lot more. Willie says, just wish that NWA Power would do a show from SoCal. I would be floored if that happened, but I'm not holding my breath. I actually reached out to a local Southern California promoter today and asked him what it would take to bring Trevor Murdoch in to defend the 10 pounds of gold. And I was met with radio silence. So I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. It sure would be great. I mean, Southern California is a very interesting wrestling market. That's more about work rate. The generalization is more fans I know are into AEW than into the NWA. They're more about the high-paced, fast wrestling and very little time for storytelling, whereas the NWA kind of excels at the storytelling. So I don't know that. I mean, there's certain areas that would do well with the NWA. David Marquez used the NWA name out here for a very long time to much success. But, this is the home of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. There's a reason why Raising the Bar decided to come into existence. There's a reason why Defy is coming into Southern California, where, and the same reason Game Changer Wrestling is coming to Los Angeles. There is a huge demand for that intense style of wrestling that really doesn't match up well with the NWA. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't make sense. I'm not saying that they wouldn't draw, but it'd be a lot more difficult for them to draw here in Southern California as opposed to a place like St. Louis or Houston, where the wrestling maybe isn't as big. Let me take a drink here. Okay. Excuse me. Lamb is surprised that the NWA did not use most of the talents from Empowerrr more at the TV tapings. I am too. And it looks like Poyle Damar was too. I mean, again, because all that talent was there. The Free Babes were there. Jamie Senegal was there. And we did see some of the talent, but like Hollywood J literally was there just to be a valet for a women's tag team match. And she's a skilled wrestler. It would have made sense to me to see her in the ring at some point. But yeah, it's a little bit of a head scratcher. Willie Bowen wants to see a Tom Latimer versus Trevor match. Lamb also points out that Empowerrr was special for a lot of reasons, same as a WWE Evolution, kind of. At the end of the day, that was it. We did hear Mickie James announce that there would be an episode of Empowerrr, which I guess it'll be like a regular TV show. See, that's the thing. Like the NWA had in the last year. Okay, since 2019, the NWA introduced Power, which has been great. Mostly. Then you get Power Surge, which is like used to be a recap show. Now it's kind of a thing onto itself. Maybe would be very suitable to be put on YouTube for free. That's another point. It's another discussion. They introduced Circled Squared, which was a way to introduce new talents to the NWA. Would have been perfect for the lead up to St. Louis and the Chase when they introduced all these new females, but they did not continue with that. Then we had the what was it called? The Superpower, which was supposed to be like a similar to a Clash of the Champions type style of show, which was good, but they only did really 2 of them, I think. And then there was the High Voltage, which was the repurposed Championship Wrestling from Hollywood United Wrestling Network Primetime Live series. And it just seemed like, oh man, there was so much stuff that they were working on, and nothing really seems to stick. I think that it would have made a lot of sense to do a recap show for Power with a very good match. I mean, look what the AEW just did on Friday night. I don't know how many of you watch AEW. I'm not a normal AEW viewer. I am a huge Daniel Bryan fan, and I watch Bryan Danielson. I'm a huge Bryan Danielson fan. And I watched Bryan Danielson fight Minoru Suzuki in probably one of the most intense bouts I've ever seen in pro wrestling, and it was 100% free. And it made me think, maybe I should subscribe to YouTube TV so that I could watch the rest of AEW, because I know we're going to have a really cool match later with CM Punk. And I know we're going to have a really cool match with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page taking on Jericho and Jake Hager. Like, there was a lot of desire for me to get cable back in my house just based on that free YouTube show. And I feel like when the NWA puts out a YouTube show, it's like, again, no disrespect intended, but it's Jeremiah Plunkett versus Mims. YouTube should be putting Tim Storm versus Thom Latimer. YouTube should be putting the Pope versus Jordan Clearwater in a competitive match. I really feel like this could be a big deal for the NWA if used the right way. But the whole thing is to draw people back in. Heeb says the merch at the gimmick table was selling out at Empowerrr. Lamb says, here's the thing. SoCal even interesting in having the NWA. I mean, Aldis versus Storm brought some interest in 2017, but else. Yeah, I mean, again, we had Adam Pearce as World's Heavyweight Champion. We had Blue Demon Jr. as World's Heavyweight Champion. We had Colt Cabana here as World's Heavyweight Champion. We never got to have a long time with any of the champions in between Pierce and Tim Storm because of the membership in the NWA. So we never got to see Jax Dane as World's Heavyweight Championship. We didn't get Rob Conway. And we only got Tim Storm at the tail end with the new ownership and the new relationship. So I don't really feel like it's a good fit. And I'm somebody that loves the NWA. I would wholeheartedly support the NWA being out here. And that would piss David Marquez off to the moon, but I would still love to have that here. It's just not going to happen. Sean Mega says AEW is owned by a billionaire. Sure, and I get that, but it's, again, a good match. It doesn't have to cost you $1 billion, you know. A good match with, if I was at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood's television taping, and I watched Kevin Martinson, Big Hunky Kev, Johnny Goodtime from the Rock Nest Monsters in a matchup with Jordan Clearwater that blew the doors off of anything Clearwater has done in the NWA. And if that Jordan Clearwater was in the NWA right now and they booked him the exact same way, you would all be a fan of him. It's fun. He's fun. but they don't let him be that guy. They're pushing him as a different guy, and that's okay. But right now, his job is lackey and not as the potential star of the show. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. Sean says, where is Rob Conway? Rob Conway, I believe, is like 54 years old or 53 years old, and he's retired from in-ring wrestling, and I think he does bodybuilding competitions. Like J. Cal said before, imagine an Empowerrr TV show as a separate roster. That would have been very interesting. I mean, I don't know if Brian's still in here now. But imagine back when the NWA and Thunder Rosa were on great terms, and if they had said, hey, we want to pitch you a show, it's going to be the Stars of Mission Pro Wrestling under the NWA banner, we're going to call it Empowerrr. What do you think about that? That would have been a slam dunk. Could you imagine the girls from Mission Pro, Maddie Wordakowski, Sky Blue? I know he was a big fan of Sky Blue. Genocide, and then filtering in talents like Kenzie Page La Rosa Negra or Holly Dead. I mean, there's a lot of great talents that are still competing at Mission Pro. Heather Monroe. Gosh, I can keep going on and on. But the fact of the matter is they didn't do anything with that. And I don't know if there's even still a relationship between the two companies at this point. And Fiona says, the Rock Nest Monsters. Yes, it was a play on Johnny Yuma, Captain Yuma, who used to be Rock and Roll Rebel Soul. Johnny Yuma teamed up with Johnny Goodtime, who was a very avid video gamer. So they were the Rock NES Monsters, Rock Nest Monsters. It was fun. He used to come out, he being Kevin Martinson, BHK, would come out with a, the dance pad that they used to have for the Nintendo, and he would do a little dance before the match. It was fun. Look for that. It's fun. You should check it out, Fiona. And then Lamb brings up JR Kratos, the way he's used in New Japan versus the way he's used in the NWA. I mean, we saw some signs of JR Kratos last week, and again, he's another guy that if I was booking the NWA, that would be a guy I'd partner with Austin Idol for sure, 100%. Whew. I'm running out of breath. You guys are making me talk today, and I didn't even get to what I wanted to talk to. Rosa went for the money. Can't blame her. No, not at all. And Fiona's mind just got blown. Yeah, I mean, look up SoCal Pro and look Rock Nest Monsters on YouTube. Do it after Power's over. Do it before the fellas over at This Is Pro Wrestling start the post show. You won't be disappointed. And then Lamb says, unlikely, Mission Pro is doing great. Yeah, Mission Pro is great. Brian Rosa, I don't know if he's still on here or not. I want to support Mission Pro. I want to be an advocate for what they're doing out there. I believe in what they're doing. It's an all women's production. I know that there's some they've introduced some men's wrestling to it, but it's mostly a women's production, and I think it's pretty remarkable what they're trying to accomplish. Sean Mega says, I like the NWA version of Kratos over to the New Japan Strong version. Hey man, whatever floats your boat. There's no wrong answer in pro wrestling. There's no wrong answer because everything is so subjective. What do you like? That's what's the best. See, for me, I think my happiest time in pro wrestling was the Lucha Libre invasion in the mid-90s, I think 94, 95. They had just started doing the Monday Night Wars. The cruiserweight division in WCW was absolutely on fire. At one point, they still had the octuplet championship, the 8 junior heavyweight championships that Ultimo Dragon would bring to the ring. He would eventually win the WCW Cruiserweight Champion, but you'd have these epic bouts between Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio, or Rey Mysterio and Dean Malenko, or Chris Jericho and Juventud Guerrera. It was just an amazing time in pro wrestling. That was probably one of my favorite times in pro wrestling. To me, that might have been the pinnacle of pro wrestling, but I understand that I might be alone on those thoughts, and that's okay. That's totally cool. You're allowed to like whatever you want. But one thing that I want to point out, and this is very important to me. And it's funny because Chris just brought it up, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. Chris says, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to support this forced face turn of Nick Aldis. You don't have to, brother. You don't have to. Ooh. I'm not going to even say it. You guys could just read it. Okay. What I find to be a little bit insulting about NWA Power, and I don't want my intelligence to be insulted as a wrestling fan. We already suspend belief far enough that I shouldn't have to reasonably convince myself that something or someone is something that they're not. After Aldis lost the World's Heavyweight Championship at the 73rd anniversary show, he came on television the following Tuesday, and at marker 51 minutes and 43 seconds into the show, for roughly 7 minutes, apologized for the person he had become as world's heavyweight champion. Now, perfect. That would have been a great send-off, and then he could have just disappeared from TV for a while. That would have been terrific, but that's not what happened. Because the very next night, after he's saying on that apology tour that he would take some time off from the NWA, the very next week he was on TV, 2 minutes and 8 seconds into the show, for approximately 7 minutes and 25 seconds to get a handshake from Trevor Murdoch and to put over Trevor Murdoch and what the title means. Okay, that was another really good feel-good moment. All right, now let's let Nick go off into the sunset and disappear for a while and let him go away for a while. And that's not what happened, right? Because then on episode 4, so far he's only missed one show since he was going to disappear for a while. He comes back 4 minutes and 5 seconds into the show to assist Tim Storm, who is about to be beaten up by Strictly Business, demanding his minions to stand down. Okay. So now that's 3 episodes in a row that he's been on my TV, on my Fight TV subscription. And then episode 5, what do we get? At 43 minutes, we have an 11-minute match with Nick Aldis teaming with Tim Storm to take on Strictly Business, and the match ends in a beatdown. So what I'm saying is he did not leave my program. He did not disappear. I could not miss Nick Aldis because you did not allow me to miss him. He was there every week looking at me, calling me a ham sandwich. He didn't go away, guys. He never left the program. And when you're telling me that he's going to disappear for a while and bring him back every episode, it leads me to believe one of two things. One, you are not comfortable with the current roster and carrying a show that you need to have Nick Aldis on it to get views, whatever. Number two, you're telling me that the World's Heavyweight Championship storyline cannot exist without Nick Aldis. What the hell, man? The 10 pounds of gold, the most prestigious title in pro wrestling, definitely elevated in its time with Nick Aldis, does not need Nick Aldis to be on the television program to make that title legitimate. Trevor Murdoch is doing a fine job. Trevor Murdoch has stepped into those shoes. And as much as you like or dislike Nick Aldis, it's irrelevant. The fact of the matter is they booked a storyline to put him off television and then never took him off TV. That's not just bad booking, that's bad storytelling. And it boggles my mind why they even bothered to write him off TV. And the way that they're going to turn him in against Strictly Business is because he protected Tim Storm. What was the reason for him protecting Tim Storm? Because his loss to Trevor Murdoch humbled him that much? Come on, man. Come on. That's ridiculous. The storyline is stupid. You're insulting my intelligence, Billy. This is dumb. Now, I'm going to order the pay-per-view. I'm going to watch this show. Yes, I'm going to keep doing that because I'm an NWA diehard and God-loving. I don't know what's wrong with me. I have NWA-itis. I don't know. But this is highly insulting. And when I hear other fans say, no, this is great. Why would you want a legend off your TV? Hey, I didn't book him to be off my TV. That wasn't my storyline. If anything, if the storyline is you want to humble the man, which he got humbled, and you want to bring him back as a hungry challenger, then do it. And if he wants to do things the right way, then do it. We don't need this blown out of proportion storyline to make him this sympathetic baby face. He's not a sympathetic baby face. You're asking him to play to his weakness, not his strengths. Nick Aldis is a much better performer when he's a heel. We know this because we watched it the first season of Power when he treaded that line between heel and babyface until he introduced Strictly Business. He's a better heel. And if you're going to bring him back and he's going to be part of the program, which is great, it's fine. No problem. He doesn't need to get kicked out of Strictly Business. Or if you want to do that to help elevate Thom, okay, cool. Kick him out of Strictly Business. Take him off TV. And then let us miss him. Let us miss the man. Let us remember the promos. Let us remember the title matches. Let us remember 4 continents in 1 year. Let us remember that he took the title to China. Let us remember that he took the title to Australia. They defended it in UK, more in the US. He did all these wonderful, amazing things for the 10 pounds of gold, but you didn't let us miss it. You kept shoving it back in our face. That's not good storytelling. I'm a pro wrestling fan, guys. I love the NWA. I'm going to tell you that this is just a heaping bag of garbage. I'm looking forward to seeing Crimson versus Jax Dane in a steel cage. I hope that they find a suitable opponent for Trevor Murdoch for the December 4th pay-per-view. I'm really hoping it's Tom Latimer. But this whole Nick Aldis resurgence, what are we doing here? What a waste of time. What a fail. You could have done something so incredible and you rushed it. I mean, it's like Venom 2. Spoiler alert, it was rushed. Wish Poil Del Mar was still here. Lamb says, remember when Kurt Angle in 2009 lost the TNA title to AJ, faced Matt Morgan at Bound for Glory, and returned as a babyface in early 2010 to earn his way back to the top by facing the top 10? Aldis should have done that. Aldis could have done anything. I'm not blaming Aldis here. This isn't Nick Aldis. He is a soldier. He's here to do what Billy tells him to do. This comes from the top down. It's not Aldis's fault that they want him on TV. It's not Aldis's fault that they don't feel like the show can be successful without him. What are your thoughts? Am I crazy? Damn, I got so impassioned there, guys. Woo! Pre-party. Needless to say, I really feel like the National Wrestling Alliance needs to find the direction it wants to go. We had 2 excellent pay-per-views, 100 A-plus pay-per-views. And it followed up with sloppy booking, rush storyline, poor production, and just overall not very good wrestling. And I would love for myself to be disappointed. I would love for myself to be wrong in this situation. I would love for the NWA to come back and do something amazing and make me say, oh, shit, I was wrong. I've done it before, guys. I'll be willing to do it again. So, yeah, Lamb says, Discord, what a hater. I mean, tell me, where's the lie? Show me where I said anything that wasn't true. And I, again, maybe I'll have heat with Gary and the This Is Pro Wrestling group. Maybe they might kick me out of the Discord chat, but I just don't even feel like they're watching the same show anymore. To navigate these waters and say, oh, Aldis has had his first match since the 73rd and got his butt kicked. Yeah, but he was on TV every episode but 2. Come on now. Come on, guys. You don't have to be like that. You could say that it's not good without saying that it's not good. You just don't have to say everything's great. It's not always sunny in Philadelphia, for crying out loud. So this will probably be my last episode of the pre-party. Thanks, guys, for checking it out. No, we'll be here next Tuesday. I guarantee it. Of course, you could check us out this Thursday, where my pals, Kevin Frazier, the former NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, and DKM and I will discuss what happens on tonight's episode of Power Search. Maybe we'll be reinvigorated. I mean, look, it's a pretty good card. Tim Storm versus Tom Latimer. We're going to get the rematch from Legit, or not the rematch, excuse me, the rebroadcast of Legit Layla versus Kamille for the Burke, the Women's World Championship. We're going to get the Tater Peeler Jeremiah Plunkett against Hearthrob Jaden. I mean, these are all pretty cool things. I think it's going to be a fun show. We're going to get some announcements about the card that's going to take place. I forgot the name of it. The show that's going to happen this Saturday in October. By any means necessary. I mean, look, it should be a fun card. I'm hoping that the show's going to be good. And there are some positive things going on for the NWA, most of which is Jax Dane, a huge Jax Dane fan, and I'm really looking forward to see what he can bring to the table if he's given an opportunity to shine in that main event spotlight. Hey, guys, if you like this episode of the Pre-Party, or if you just want to help support the show in general, please give us that thumbs up and a like. If you really like it, that subscribe button is sitting right there just next to that thumbs up button. If you subscribe to the show, well, guys, we are currently at, I'll give you the updated numbers right now. We are currently at, are you ready? 753 subscribers. That means we're only 247 subscribers away from 1,000. If you guys don't know this, our pal over at NWA Gold is going to be giving away his replica title, and he's giving you a choice. You can pick the crown title, which was represented from I think 1959 to 1973. That replica, the original was held by guys like Dory Funk Jr. I don't know where Senior came from. Gene Kaninsky, Harley Race, or he's offering up his 10 pounds of gold. The replica that I have, it's one that's been held by the greats like, Ric Flair, Kerry Von Erich, Dusty Rhodes. Who else? Of course, all of our modern day guys like Adam Pearce, AJ Styles, Jeff Jarrett, Sting, Christian Cage, and So if you want an opportunity to win that, hit that subscribe button, and you'll be entered into the contest. Once we hit 1,000, we'll be drawing one name from my 1,000 subscribers to get that, and then also we'll be giving away other prize packages as well, some T-shirts, some baseball caps. If you don't want to wait to win one, you can always buy one of these hats or these shirts at our merch store at alliance-wrestling.com. Just hit the merch link button. It's also in the description. And, I do appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for humoring me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of the Pre-Party. Special shout out to Poiled Amar, man. You brought it. Thanks for being here. Brian Russell's going to go grab some food so he can watch AEW Dark. Wrestling with MMA wants to remind you that you hope you enjoyed your ham sandwiches. And we're going to see you guys. I have to get the video ready at the matches. Have a good night now.